Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to our beautiful Wednesdays. This is Chestnut Checkers. We are out here rocking out, y'all.
We
Before we
are
get
out.
started, we're going to start tagging folk. I am William Alexander. I have my co host, Miss Kristen Rare Sense Wilson, out here. We have volume two of a very interesting topic that we talked about last week. We're going to get into it. We're going to give you the subject. We're going to give you the title. We're going to go into it. Before we do, we
Absolutely.
got some current events, y'all.
Always.
We always got to start off with the current events. We got to start off with the shits.
Because the world is going to hell in a handbasket
The
if we
world
let it.
is going. So salutations. We're going to get connected. We got Kristen. Kristen, what are these current events going on?
Um, so Diddy apologized in the worst, most egregious manner I've seen an apology done that wasn't by a melanated person. Let me say it like that. Um he basically, without admitting to any wrongdoing outside of the video that was released, apologized for being at his deepest and lowest and most horrible of a monster in that moment and seeked help and seek therapy and seek God for the video.
Diddy's an interesting character. I don't have too much to say about the incident, much more than what we've already seen and what we witnessed. Um, but what I will say is that we I feel bad that we knew how inhumane that man was and we did nothing.
Absolutely.
I do feel bad that that woman had to suffer the way that she did in silence and drive herself crazy for so long.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do hope that they find a way to actually have him serve time for the thing that he's or the things that he's done. Because it's not
Absolutely.
for me, it's not the fact that he did it. It's the fact that he misled society into believing that he didn't.
And
And
then,
that's the part to me that makes me spit in the face of people like him.
absolutely.
It's when you talk about due process means that you allow the truth to come out. You wanted us to believe your lie,
Mm-hmm.
and
Gaslighting at its finest.
you made sure that you were willing to almost put that woman in a bag to protect your lie.
And how many people are in
And
bag?
for me, that's an unforgivable offense. Some things God has to deal with you.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know me. God bless your journey. I ain't got it. Y'all, like I don't have it. I don't have the wherewithal to even consider him as a human being. Um, lowest of low type of person.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, bottom of the barrel.
Here's what really I think bothers me more than anything, is that not only was she abused, so let's say that first. We hate that she went through the abuse while it was happening. But then to be treated as though it never happened because she received a settlement payment was the first step in the biggest gaslighting event of the 20th century at this point. Like,
mm-hmm.
of the 21st century actually. Like, I feel as though this woman should just go out and smack everybody that was online talking about, oh, she just did it for a check. Oh, he's innocent until proven guilty.
Yeah, yeah. We
You
gotta
know,
run hands.
right, 70 something pages worth of a lawsuit got settled in less than 24 hours for a reason, people. And in that book of a lawsuit is, and I hate to keep harping on it, but it's right there. Everything in that
Mm-hmm.
lawsuit is why women are choosing the bear.
Mm-hmm.
everything that has happened to that woman in the court of public opinion is why women are choosing the bear.
Mm.
And it's a sad world that we live in when abuse is less looked down upon than the abuser, just because you like their vodka.
Not the vodka though.
Yeah,
And if I'm being honest, the vodka ain't even that great.
Ciroc
Like,
has
I
never
never
been my
really
thing.
mess with Ciroc. Like, you can miss me with that.
Mhm.
That bottom of the barrel has boy.
Yeah,
But,
it was flavored rock gut, and y'all ate it up.
To your point though, it is interesting how we, how I guess how society expects us to be able to pinpoint that style of person. And once we do pinpoint that style of person, what do we do with that style of person? How do we then, because again, he rose to a point where a man like me is like deems him untouchable.
Mm-hmm.
So how then is he touched?
Right. He's touched by the people who he's touched. Basically, they're the ones that have to speak out on behalf of the atrocities that he's committed.
Yeah.
I hope that and I don't even hope that it's a known thing that everything done in the dark is going to come to light at some point.
Mm-hmm.
It's a sad thing that most of us in the generations living now are living in a world where most of the people that we either looked up to, idolized, or had to watch in some way, shape, or form grow to the power that they have are also monsters.
Mm.
I am literally floored at the fact that the Kendrick Drake rap beef has been over for over a week now, and I'm still finding out different avenues and ways that things that were said can be construed. Like, there were so many different layers to certain things that never really were discussed and should have been, because they were poignant.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's like, again, a person like me would say it's Drake. Like, what would a person like me, like, I heard some of this stuff and I'm like, that was a little bit too close to home. You know what I mean? That was a little bit too, but pure, you know what I mean? Like,
Right.
Okay, that wasn't a bird shot. That was a buck shot. Like, he wasn't playing with that one.
Right.
You know what I mean? So,
and the bird shot, buckshot, the way they train you how to do it in your shotgun for home protection is exactly what we saw in that battle. Kendrick said, bird shot, buckshot, bird shot, buckshot, buckshot.
Right. All buckshots.
All buckshots after that. Because I told you too many times to stop bringing up my family. You keep witching in my wife's name, and so I'm putting it all out there. Right. One of the things that I found extremely interesting, based in that battle, was, I believe it was 6:16 a.m. in LA, where he Instagrammed just a picture of the gloves before he then came back with the whole shirt and the album cover, but it was just the gloves. Somebody on TikTok, and I forget the creator who was mentioning it, but was explaining the whole idea that gloves are part of what they're calling Pizzagate. And the people in Hollywood who aren't often caught eating or talking about pizza will have pictures on their social media of a single missing glove on the ground somewhere. And these people are now being linked to that infamous list of the gentleman who did not hurt himself in jail. And so,
his island.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, now that these people have been seen to be on that list of travelers, though the glove seems to be more connected to the idea that Drake is out here doing what Kendrick said.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just so many layers to what Kendrick was trying to put out. And it, to me, it's not about confronting or taking down the Diddies. For me, and even in doing this podcast, it's about confronting and restructuring the system of power that allows for and even recruits these people. Because it's always been said that to get into the entertainment industry in any form, you got to sell your soul. You know, and so if that's what they're really making people do, or people are choosing to do in order to get these billion-dollar checks, you know, I'm a firm believer, right? I'm a firm believer that there's no amount of acting in the world that can make somebody gay for a check.
Nope.
There's no amount of, I'm gonna put this dress on for this check, if you're a man who doesn't believe in that.
Like, I shouldn't get the highest esteemed honor for selling my dignity.
Right.
I'm not doing that. And I'm not against people who are. I'm not. Sorry. You can go ahead and get that 20 million.
Absolutely. And so this is, me, because everybody hates that I don't like Denzel, but that's my Denzel issue. My Denzel issue is he has had several Oscar-worthy roles. Way back in the day when he was with Spike Lee, all of those movies could have been something that they applauded him for. It was the moment he was like, I'm a nigga and I'm a crooked cop, that they were willing to project him to the heights that is the Denzel of today.
I agree. Angela Bassett still ain't get hers.
Right? Because she's not willing to give up her dignity.
Nope.
And even in stories where she's played the Tina Turners, it's a triumphant ending. It's not her just being beaten and broken for 2.5 hours for someone else's pleasure. And those are the people who won't get it. Like, they're never going to get what they deserve because they won't play the game that is there to be played. And I respect that so much more than those who will sit back and allow people. And this is on every level of life. Okay. Let me just say that while I'm talking about it. It's from the lowest level of everyday people that we see going to and from, to the highest level of people in America. Those who are so apathetic to sit around and allow other people to be uncaring and hurtful toward others without a word are just as much of the problem.
100%. Like, you can't allow your neighbor to treat somebody wrong, especially if it's somebody that you know and love, and still call them your friend. Like, you can't do that.
Right.
Like, if you call me your friend after you do somebody that I know wrong, we gotta fight. And I'm gotta keep it a being with you. We gotta fight.
And see, it's funny that you say that.
And I intend to hurt you.
Absolutely. It's funny that you say that, because there's this conversation amongst, the people where it's like, oh, you shouldn't allow other people's ideas of someone to reflect how you deal with that person. But I personally am a fuck the other side kind of person. Because if you'll do it to my best friend over here, or you'll do it to my cousin over there, then you're going to do it to me. If you're coming to me talking about them all the time, then I know for a fact that the moment you leave me, you're leaving with my information to go tell them. And it's hard to be a genuine person in the world today. And
I mean, especially when they have success looking like it's deemed on like still shot images and social media.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no substance anywhere in the world. It's like, and it's very brittle. It's like tissue paper brittle.
Yeah.
Like, I had I had a situation where I felt responsible for having to make this person feel good.
That's not your responsibility.
I had to sit down, and I can make it my responsibility, but I have to understand that that's not how diamonds are made. And if you want cooling, then what you have to do is you have to have some sort of heated substance. Like,
Mhm.
I choose to go to the fire early, be shaped early, and be cooled later. Anything else doesn't make any sense to me.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, I'd rather go through the journey of work early. And
Mhm.
that's something that we get lost in. And I wrote something about long suffering and how it's a key essential to knowing
You
what
gonna
to
stop
do.
cussing at me? Mhm.
Long suffering, man.
Stop
That's
cussing at
something
me.
that you have to go through. You have to be willing to go through the hell while you are wanting to be on vacation.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? It's that exchange. Like, make the vacation worth it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're gonna expect a vacation out of everybody, and everybody ain't responsible to do that. You miss the
Facts.
lessons that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Yeah.
all I got,
Absolutely.
man. Not
I
it's not
mean, it's
that's not all I got. I'm trying to tell y'all that's not what I got.
right. So I mean, like what you said is truly heavy. Like it's not your responsibility, but so many people are so fragile. And then on top of being as fragile as they are, they don't know who they are. So they don't
Mm-mm.
know how to bounce back in their character when things get to breaking down, because they do.
Mm-hmm.
That's life, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so people don't understand that it takes work. This is part of what
Mm-hmm.
we've been talking about. This is part of, you're absolutely right, chaotic. They never see the hard work. They never see what goes into doing what they want to do. They just see the end result and think that it's okay to try to jump on the bandwagon. But when
Mm-hmm.
they're then when people who actually care about
Mm-hmm.
them and the craft try to give them correction, they're lambasted. They have no clue how to resolve that. And it's
Mm-hmm.
just sad. It's honestly sad to see so many people out here, drowning themselves in alcohol, popping pills and doing lean and all of these different drugs that people are into now. And it's not even like when I was coming up, 9 times out of 10, your average neighborhood drug addict had a story. There was a lot of
Mm-hmm.
trauma that made them get there. Now it's
Mm-hmm.
just for the sake of not feeling, which is
Man, yeah, like I got a C in math. like,
right,
like,
right.
you got a C in math because you asleep.
You didn't study, right? You didn't do none of the homework. You was sitting there looking at the girl with the big butt 2 seats in front of you to every class, and now you got to see, and oh my God, let me go get high. Like, no, there are people out here
Man.
that smoke weed because they have real anxiety. they,
Right, right.
there is a medicinal property to weed, and the rest,
Listen.
and some of the other drugs as well, if used properly. Morphine and heroin are the same base drug, but when you're using them properly, they can be healthy. If you're not using them properly, then we go back to the show we did about addiction.
No, you don't want to talk about that again. That was hurt. That was painful. That was a scary
It
one.
was tough. It
That's a
was
scary
it.
one.
It's scary
Listen.
because it could be any of us,
Mm-hmm.
and therefore, by the grace of God, go I, as the old people used to say. Right. There goes
Listen,
that word grace again.
man. So let's get into it. Let's get into it.
Absolutely.
We're
Absolutely.
we're we're touching base on volume 2, y'all. We're on 2-part series. We're doing 2-part series here. We had forgiveness. That was the first series. We had
Mhm.
episode 1. We delve deep. Second part was we got to the outcome of forgiveness. What happens next? And second one, or the next phase of that, I lost track. Where we at?
We are on volume 2 of Surrender/Submission.
Listen, y'all.
Mhm.
I had to withdraw so much so that I tried not to think about it. But
Right. Cognitive
we we
dissonance can
we
be
we
your
heard
friend.
of the submission aspect last week. We touched base on how it looked on the feminine side and the beauty of it. And I was surprised to know that you even wanted to be married again.
Yeah. I
I,
never gave up on love just because I gave up on the person I fell in love with. I've
mm,
always been a romantic at heart. And
got
so
you.
for me, I would love to be married again, but it has to be with someone who understands the true value of partnership. It can't be just somebody who wants to say, I have a wife, which is
Hmm.
what happened the first time.
Mm.
Yeah.
There's a song, know when to hold 'em, know when
Mm-hmm.
to fold 'em, know when to walk away. That's so
Know
true.
when to run, nigga.
Right, know when to get the fuck up out of there. So we have this idea of being um a servant or learning how to surrender,
Mm,
and that is a man's worst enemy.
yeah.
And knowing that putting your hands up to a situation doesn't mean that you quit it.
Mm-hmm.
That it literally means that the way I'm doing it now isn't working.
Right.
And that's something that we have to come to an understanding that we have to be a little bit more gentle. And it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean soft. And I need to be very clear. I am not about taking masculinity out of a man. Cancel me
Please
if you
don't.
want. Talk about me if you want. I am not about taking the masculinity out of a man. What I am about is understanding and shaping a man into a more refined product.
Mm-hmm.
We owe it to ourselves, y'all. Like we do. And part of that is understanding um the needs of even before your partner, the needs of those around you.
Mm-hmm.
You it's hard for you to engage in a relationship when your community is suffering and you have no hand in your community. You have no
Absolutely.
work in your community. There's no action being put so that there's a resume behind your name of people that can support and can depend on, like, you have to have some sort of community behind you as
Absolutely.
an embodiment of folks like me. Now, you
Mm-hmm.
can find folks like you that's very communal and need they bros and need that validation from their homies. You can have that.
Mm-mm.
I don't need that at all. What I desire is for my work to speak for itself. And when I leave this earth, my name carries on. And what I decide to put my hands on continues to live on. And that
Absolutely.
takes putting your hands in the community. Sometimes it takes sleeping
Mm-hmm.
on the cement,
Hmm.
not understanding how the hell you got there. You know what I mean? You just sitting there like,
Baby.
the fuck? Like my math
The
ain't
fuck?
mathing for some reason, but you just gotta be like, all right, it's a journey of getting the things right, getting of correcting your behavior. And I
Absolutely.
said that in the first episode that we ever did. We deal with a whole lot of bad behavior,
Oh gosh.
a whole lot of bad behavior. And what we try to do is we try to be grown-ups and still live off of the bad behavior.
Well, okay. I disagree, but only in one point
I'm
there.
listening.
I made a comment in the group chat the other day that did not get understood, right? And the comment was women are out here trying to train their men, but loving their children. And
Hmm.
that shit is backwards.
Hmm.
And it was not understood because the idea of training, that word isn't going to rub certain men the right way. Um, but because men are being treated like children, they are acting like children. Because grown ass women are being treated like children, they are acting like children. You do not and should not have to nag the shit out of another adult to do everyday regular shit, but then go behind and coddle your children until they have no clue what to do in the world and become these bad behaving adults that
Mm-hmm.
we're speaking about. There needs
Mm-hmm.
to be accountability.
A whole standard. It has to be a whole standard. And not only that standard, but it has to be honored.
Yeah.
That's the one thing. It's like when somebody does something wrong, the very first thing we're able to say, oh, give me grace. Well, I can't give you grace if you're not able to hold to account the thing that you did.
Correct.
That's the thing. And manhood, there's a principle in manhood. Um, and I'm still yet learning, still growing, doing what I gotta do.
Mhm.
But once you're called to the truth of the moment, you have to face that truth.
Right.
And you need to be honest about the truth. It's not about nothing else but honoring that truthful moment.
Absolutely. But
You
see,
know what I mean? Like,
that's where it all falls down, because there's a lot of people who don't know the truth if it slaps them in the face.
shh.
There's a other whole sect of people that are dealing with the what I call the secular Christian idea of grace.
Mm.
A lot
Mm-hmm.
of these mega preachers and preachers who don't really delve into what the word actually says will
Mm-hmm.
have people believing, because they'll go to church every Sunday and be told they're living in grace, that at some point they're not going to have to pay the piper. You
Listen,
know, yes, Yeshua died for our sins. Yes, he
listen.
did. Um, does that allow you to be a monster? No, no. And I'm sorry, when you look at the practical idea of grace, the only time we hear that outside of blessing our food is the idea that we have until the 5th to pay our rent. That's our grace
And
period.
and look, even Yeshua said, I'll be back.
Right. So if it was all said and done, why he got to come back? You see what I'm saying? If you don't pay your rent by the 5th, that grace period don't mean shit, because you're going to get evicted.
Mm-hmm.
And people are really running with this idea that they do not have to be held accountable. And I do blame social media in a lot of ways, because it took away the I'm gonna pull up on you and show you what I'm talking about aspect of life that I grew up with. There was a 3-way phone call, sometimes a 4-way phone call. If 2 people had 3-way, you get all them people on the phone, and if it got too hectic, you walked your ass up the street.
And for real, wasn't but so many ways you like back in the day. We knew where everybody was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
That was the thing. We knew usually they're going to be at school, you was going to be at the rec, or you was going to be at home.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
That's it.
We all knew.
But see,
So when we met
sadly, it's still the same now. Nothing has changed. These kids don't have nowhere to go. There's not even a rec center. So they're either at school, they're at home, they're on the block where their home is, or they're at the mall. They're
nah,
still,
they on the block with their daddy or their mom.
but this is what I'm saying. Like, sadly, the parents are not taking accountability. She's out there twerking for their father that they haven't
Oh my God.
seen in the home in years, but they see him on the block every day. So they're out there too, and everybody's getting ran down on, and it makes no sense. You got people hiding behind screens. You got people hiding behind the idea that they can shoot you. If you feel like it's okay to take a life, you need a doctor. Like, word. Because there's only certain circumstances where that shit should even be a thought.
And until until you felt a life almost escape you, you don't want no smoke with that.
Because they don't really know. They don't really know. Meanwhile, they're sitting around here listening to drill music and talking about sliding on this and sliding on that and blah, blah, blah. But the people they idolize are looking like real demons. Like King Von, when you look at his extracurricular activities, is not someone who should have been looked up to in any way, shape, or form. At all. And
Not
yet
at
those
all.
of us that have a real moral system, a real value system, are the ones that look crazy now. There's things happening around me all the time that in my heart of hearts, I'm like, I don't condone this, and I leave.
Absolutely. I will be out.
Fast.
This sound has become pure.
Look, fuck this shit, I'm out.
Hey.
I'm gone. Because I
Not even
can't.
thinking twice.
I refuse. I don't understand a world where we have one-sided fights.
Man.
I don't understand bullying in its essence of now. I
Mm-hmm.
understood bullies have always been there. And this is the thing that's weird to me, this idea of bullying now. Because we
Mm-hmm.
all had bullies. We all knew who the bully was.
Mm-hmm.
You either stayed the fuck away from him or you was on his good side. Or
Mm-hmm.
you had to whoop their ass to make sure they didn't fuck with you another day. But
Mm-hmm.
wasn't nobody out here talking about offing themselves because of a bully?
No. You know, and again, that participation idea,
Ooh.
like we had to earn our shit. Like there was a time when listen, we played football like little league, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And you got cut.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Every year.
there were tryouts.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all, they wasn't playing.
Not
Now
playing.
now they want you to feel good so that mom can relive her glory days of seeing dad on the field because dad no longer, it's a sad state of affairs, man.
Yeah, I call
Like
it the Al Bundy syndrome.
man,
Because, Al Bundy was sitting around talking about Polk High in his 40s,
let's rock.
wishing his son had some sort of sports in him,
I'm cracking up.
And Bud Bunny probably grew up to be goddamn Steve Jobs for all we know, because he was the smartest person in that house,
Right. Only one with sense and
but
reason.
that part.
But yeah, it's and one of the things that I've learned, let me not say we, singular entity here. One of the things that I've learned about servanthood is that oftentimes if you have a good woman and you declare that woman a good woman, um and you can, have her submit to the order that you give so that
Mm-hmm.
she can help construct it. Um what happens after that is you realize that you become affirmed, and a lot of the shit that you do is not going to considerably be crazy anymore because that person is going to make sense of those dark areas where you keep tripping over. And that's what sometimes surrendering is, and
Yeah.
servanthood is it's being able to take instruction.
Mm-hmm.
Men, y'all
Mm-hmm.
gotta learn how to take fucking instruction from everybody but your goddamn coach. You done graduated from fucking high school 30 goddamn years ago, and the only motherfucker you respect is your goddamn head coach of basketball that probably slept with cheerleaders and shit, you old jerk.
Ooh.
Anyway, y'all gotta start doing a little bit better. Like with
Yeah.
getting accountability people, not just friends that you can have fun with, but friends that'll tell you to honor your fucking woman,
Mm-hmm. Take care
and
of your
and
kids.
and somebody that'll tell you to, there's a certain standard that we carry as friends, and before I put your ass out of here,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather let you be well with your journey, but know that you losing out on more than just friendship here. You disappointed our goals.
Right.
If you're not honoring those small principles, stop fucking with these women's lives, man. Like, and I'm gonna keep it a being like, stop fucking with these women's lives, giving them false ideas that you believe in something for them that they're having a hard time. That's called predatory. You sound like a fucking Diddy.
Oh, no Diddy, but yeah.
Like that's very Diddy-esque behavior. Having
Mm-hmm.
somebody think that um you love them and that you'll promise to do these things for them, and you know that they've been through a hard journey, and you find another loophole
Mm-hmm.
and you infiltrate them yet again.
Right.
You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, and you're giving them a sense of, this is love. Is this love? Is this love? Is this
Mm.
love that I'm feeling? I bet you that's what
Mm-hmm.
she was singing
Yep.
when she was getting kicked up under an elevator.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
Because why can't
that's
I leave?
right.
When that standard of love becomes that, I I I I'm I
So
do nothing more than applaud her husband. Like, good for him for being able to be a patient enough person with enough order within himself to deal with that woman in her trauma.
so when right. Absolutely. So when you deal with men, and this is a plea that me in my experiences, it goes out to women. Make sure you vet that man early in adversity. Make sure
Mhm.
that when you speak to that man, you speak to his challenges. And if he early on cannot answer a question directly, that is the answer you need to move forward in a direct motion.
So
You don't owe that man a benefit of doubt. If he can't
I,
articulate his journey and his goal and his responsibility and his past, walk the
baby,
fuck away from it.
I promise you, I did not think that men understood questions until I got to be in my damn late 30s because
Jeez.
I have never in life up and until my late 30s seen a man get
Jeez.
asked a direct question and give a direct answer.
Jeez.
Oh, babe, you going to the store? Well, I had to get some sneakers and da, 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 da. No, are you going to the store, nigga? That's all I like. But
Man.
then when we get frustrated because we're being,
No, I get it.
then we're the crazy ones and we're overly emotional and we're all of this stuff. But it's just that we're not seeing any order to submit to, but we want to have a man.
Mm.
And
And
so
you just want
but
some sort of covering and protection. And I
we
feel
want
bad.
covering, protection, and comfort.
Mm-hmm.
The world
That
is an uncomfortable place for a single woman. It very much so is. The protection is our comfort. I made a post the other day that said, I just want to be the passenger princess who gets a little tipsy when we go out to dinner and listen to music and waves my hand out the window. Like, I want to just be able to allow myself to be free in the world. But as a single woman, I can't do that.
That was a good one.
I know. Yeah, I can't. You know, it sucks because it's like, at what point do we start understanding conversation and the idea that there is a goal to conversation? Like, people just be talking to talk.
To
You
feel
know,
good. Like, I'm not here to talk to feel good.
I'm 46 fucking years old. I'm not sitting around talking about you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. I'm not doing that shit for 3 hours, nigga. I'm not doing that shit. I'm gonna hang up on you. I don't have
to. Are you an asset? Are you a liability? Are you long term? Are you short term?
And for any of our viewers who feel as though we are alienating them because you do not know what these words are. Asset is spelled with 2 S's and 1 T. Liability is a soundable word. Sound it out. Go look these words up so you can understand what you've not been being.
You've not been.
You've not been being your whole life.
To fucking spoke, okay?
Please, because we done tried to told y'all.
We done
tried to told y'all a million times.
We done trying to told y'all to spoke proper.
Look, spoke good and to speak proper. But you're not doing neither one of them, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired, William. Look, I get frustrated. You know me. I'm breathe through my moment like you always
have your moment.
No, it's not even that. Okay, so I just put something together while you was talking about Diddy, right?
Yeah.
I just put something together. Hey, boo, I love you. Thank you for being there for me yesterday. Love you. That's my wifey. I love her so much. Yeah, my boo. But yeah, like, I put the 2 and 2 together because people have been very upset about the specific Black men that are being put on these pedestals of monsterdom. We got Diddy. Previous to that, it was Mr. Kelly, the Aura, and then previous to that, the Aura, and then previous to that, it was Mr. Cosby. But what I realized when you were speaking to what it was that Diddy is doing, he's the gaslighter. He's the manipulator. He's the I love you, but let me beat the shit out of you because I don't feel good today. He's that dude. These are the 3 men that most of our community's women are dealing with, right? He's that one. R. Kelly is the one who's so up his bros and got his bros so financially connected to him because he's the one with all the money that he can get them to bring him victims. He can enlist the victim wingmen, right? and then preys on women who are vulnerable in a sense of lack of emotional maturity and intelligence. He's that one, right? And Bill Cosby is the nigga putting pills in the drinks at the club so he can fuck in the bathroom and not have no responsibility to you whatsoever. Don't that sound kind of familiar? Hey, Mom.
It's
right.
the aura, Kelly.
Right.
I like I said, I just feel sad. Somebody wrote on Instagram, educate me, I talk more better.
Look, I appreciate we will try to educate you.
Shouts out.
Look, we will educate you to the best of our ability, William Waldorf.
But the reality is that we you know, we have to do a much better job, fellas, with communicating and being steadfast in our communication with number one, how we feel, because we process how we feel a little bit different than I found our modern society women. Men process how they feel with how they feel, but it's very, very elementary.
Mm-hmm.
Hurt, anger, sad, mad, like rookie stuff.
I disagree, but I get what you're saying.
You know what I mean? When you're able to develop and articulate reasoning, and that comes by way of having conversation with the other sex. Mm-hmm. Because a lot of times the other sex associate how they feel with what they're thinking.
Mm-hmm. I should wear these shoes today. Like, that is not a feeling.
Right. That is not I feel like we should go. No, that is an idea of said destination that you should be. Yeah, that is absolutely. Not a. So when you're coming to a conversation, when it involves dialogue and communication, first thing we need to have is a focus, a matter.
Right.
This is the matter at hand. This is the truth. This is like, now your perspective are the facts. How you viewed it are the feelings. Right. But the matter is the truth.
Absolutely.
This is a bottle. Mm-hmm. But until I acknowledge that it's Gatorade, it's just simply a bottle. Now you can argue, oh, it's Gatorade. It's Gatorade. And I can say, oh, there's water in it, but it's a Gatorade bottle. It's
right. There's half empty and half full is the perspective.
There's a fifth principle that we should honor and do ourselves a better service at, and that's called being skeptical.
Hey.
And in the midst of conversation and heavy conversation, we have to do a better job at asking questions, y'all. Like, it doesn't hurt to be asked a question. Now, if you fucking around with life, I get it. Mm-hmm. But don't be afraid to answer no questions. Men, a woman questioning you is testing who you are as a man. If she's doubting something, she's not doubting you. She may have been somewhere before that you're trying to take her past where she's comfortable going.
Right.
And she needs your reassurance.
To an extent. Don't give these bitches carte blanche to question
sometimes
for real. Don't do that.
Sometimes.
This is why I love my wife. She gave us the definitions. Get your education on, boo. I appreciate you. We got to get you on the show. You too, E. You too, Hats. I appreciate Rosemary. Thank you for your comment. We appreciate everybody who's tuning in and actually listening and trying to be a part of the conversation. Here come the definition of asset, y'all. Liability, first and foremost, is the state of being responsible for something. Period. That's it. Be responsible for you. That's all we're asking you to do. And if you cannot be responsible for yourself, then you are a liability. Period. End of story. That means that regardless, if you are drunk 100% of the time, you're not responsible yourself. That's not your right brain. You know,
that's not your right brain.
That's not your right brain, bro. You know, and so when you're really out here judging life based on the truth, the matter is going to unfold in front of you. Mm-hmm. You know, and skepticism for me has gone the way of conspiracy theory. Like people have such a lack of critical
Right.
thinking skills in this world today
Mm-hmm.
that if you feel like you have to ask a question, then you're canceled because who the fuck are you to ask?
Right.
Because I
Right.
know what I'm talking about.
How
Like,
dare you?
I dare. Look, I dare. Because what are you talking about? And I need you to cite your sources on top of it. But we're not gonna have that English lit class today. The definition of an asset, thank you, my wonderful boo, is a useful or valuable thing, person, or quality. Simple. We're not even going to go into the different types of liabilities and assets. We're just like those first simple definitions. You're either accountable or you're not. And that accountability proves whether or not you're an asset. That's it. If you are useful or valuable, asset. But people don't want to be used. And see, we had this talk when we first met about the word manipulation.
Mm-hmm.
And I was dead set. Like, no, fuck manipulation. It's not
fuck
cool.
you and your goddamn manipulation. That shit ain't cool. You're manipulative son of a bitch. I don't even fucking know. That's how you were to me.
I promise you that's how I was to you. And I apologized after when I finally understood that you're manipulating a hammer if you got to put a nail in the wall. There's levels to this.
Mm-hmm.
And people are when I said I disagreed with you earlier, it's not in the fact, because all of the emotions that you named that men show were negative emotions.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
But yes, you are absolutely right, Mike. Perception is key. So in naming those emotions, I tend to feel like, because society says boys don't cry, anything positive or anything that appears or people can perceive as weakness gets pushed into that category of boys don't cry. Toughen up, man up. You know what I'm saying? You gotta, which is weird. I still don't understand why men being called a pussy is a bad thing, because pussies are one of the most resilient fucking things in the world, and they taste good most of the time. But hey, I'm sorry, I went on a tangent, y'all. My bad. But the idea that I've come to understand from my perception as a woman looking at men is that y'all tend to coat any negative emotion with anger, because that's the only acceptable emotion you're allowed to show.
So even to piggyback on what you're saying, to emote it is wrath. And again, that's something that we, and I say this all the time, and we got some Instagrammers on here. Shouts out to y'all, IGers. We're taught that very early. We're taught a very barbaristic belief. And a lot of that is to make sure that we're honed in on our survival skills as we get older. But somewhere in Western theology, more closely related to, and them folk, they stop taking responsibility, like you said, to train these children. You train the children, and then they're taught how to be.
You ever see
the
that
embodiment of what you want? You know what I mean? Like,
did you ever see that movie, The Help? Okay, so you remember the young lady who was writing the articles about them? The one thing that I distinctly remember not feeling, but thinking about that young lady is the little girl who Viola Davis's character told, you are smart, you are kind, and you is important, is that young lady who grew up to want to help the help. Because she was being raised. She was being raised to understand that she needed to be smart and kind and important to be a good person in the world. Not some knuckleheaded gooch troop in the building.
Ew. We're not doing this. We're not doing this.
Hey, that's my sense right there. But yeah, so since people are not being raised outside of toughen up, man up, don't cry. As soon as they feel hurt, then we got to fight. Then somebody got to die. Because, Lord, how can I ever come back from my feelings being hurt when I participated?
Yeah.
And got a trophy.
Man, and I am not responsible to engulf in your feelings. Like, I'm not going to do that. I promise you, and maybe I won't get a lot of viewers after this, and that's okay.
Yeah, we will.
But
We'll
you
get
got
more.
about 15 minutes of my undivided emotional content. You have legitimately ain't nothing that can cook in water. It takes what you know that cooks in water that takes longer than 15 minutes. Thank you.
You wanted me to answer?
Right.
Yeah. Nah.
Name me any metal on this earth that takes longer than 15 minutes to
heat up.
You got 15 minutes of that intensity with me. I mean, you got to shut that shit down and find resolve. You better go sit in the snow, take a shower.
I promise you, if I was upset and somebody told me to go sit in the snow, we would probably.
Yo, you gotta do something.
And this is why I am like I'm using the words
Rashida.
They
do not. Shut up. Okay. Like, yeah, we interact very live. Shut up. You are not doing this.
She's doing just fine.
Guess what?
Oxtail do take a long time to cook.
You're not even getting 15 minutes. Fuck how you feel too.
Oh shit. Oh shit.
Shut up. They do not. They do not.
Oxtails take a long time, but I get your point.
So you boil oxtails in the water for 15 minutes, or do you simmer them?
I put them in the pressure cooker. So I don't know what it's doing inside of there. It's inside the pressure cooker.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
This is a cheat sheet for the oxtail. Just so y'all.
I feel like Rashida. You okay? But anyway,
she's doing great. Leave her alone.
You're doing right.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the things, nothing, and it doesn't.
She directly answered your question that you asked, so she got that.
Now the idea and the point that I'm making is this.
Sorry, go ahead.
Is that it doesn't take much more than taking a moment to acknowledge the moment.
Yeah.
As a man, this is love you too. As a man, just taking a moment and acknowledging this is really a matter. It's a matter of importance. You're acknowledging that this person has a thought or a feeling or let's just call it a feeling towards that matter at hand. That does not mean, men, you challenge that woman's feelings towards the matter.
Right.
No, that's not how it works. It's time to redirect. It's time to get her all focused on the matter and remind her why she's even coming to you in the first place. Because why she's coming to you. No,
that's not how it works. That seems to always be how it works. The woman comes with a problem and the man says she's illogical because she has a problem. Oh, I'm sorry.
I mean, sometimes, if you want an argument, you go ahead and you start off like that. But the most important thing is number one, acknowledge that the moment is important.
Yeah.
That's it. Like, that's the most important thing to do. Mm-hmm. Whether it's important to you or it's important to her, acknowledge that moment is important. Second thing, very simple. Begin to ask questions. And navigate her away from the pool itself. Oftentimes people hear me say, like, while I'm talking, I'll say, come out the pool. Because I'm able to handle certain intense situations and sitting in intense conversations. I understand that some people cannot do that.
Baby, and it's so hard.
To talk to grown men about grown men shit, hold them accountable, and they hold me accountable. Some males can't do that.
But iron sharpens the iron. So then, if they can't do that, that's not a man.
No. And these are things, and these are rules that you're supposed to be as women. We're giving y'all clues here. When you're
Mm,
looking at men, look at how they're challenging each other.
right,
If they can't behave, keep it pushing. And that's okay.
right.
Unless you're
So
willing to take that journey forward.
can I do what my therapist said and ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
What it is that you're saying, please? Okay, because that's not a question form. Is what you're saying that men who get challenged and automatically become upset are not viable men to do and have the order that's needed for a traditional home?
What I will say is that men who tend to get upset at the idea of being questioned are missing a lot of self control and mature principles that keep them, I won't be absolute here, that keep them secure and grounded in their resolve. They're highly
Okay.
impulsive and reactive, likely. If I
That
want to
was
just,
that was what I was looking for, is
I
what
would
does that
rather say that,
mean?
and I'll just be very plain. They're likely very impulsive. They're likely very erratic. I'm not going to define anybody here, but
Oh,
again,
absolutely.
it's our responsibility to check a man in their resolve. If you see them, having conversation with their friends, listen to what that conversation's about. They
Right.
having it in public, so it ain't
Mm.
nothing that you can't hear.
And unless you read the tea, so listen to niggas having two-sided conversations with themselves,
You know how
you
many
you better
times
be paying attention.
You know how many times I've been sitting there and overheard the two people talking about what they're going to do to somebody else, and I'm like, ill.
That is the craziest thing to me.
Sometimes I'll engage and be like, well, why? Why would you?
Hmm.
All
Why
you
are you
got to do is buy him a drink, right? You ain't
right?
got to
Look,
do all this.
here's the thing, right? See, and my good sis Rashida has been helping me along the way, even though she says I'm slow to learn this lesson. But I have a tendency to speak the quiet parts out loud.
I'm cracking up.
And so I think that's partial to the conversation that you were just saying.
Mm,
In the sense of, if you're gonna do something
mm-hmm,
to someone, 9 times out of 10, something that the comment, if it warrants a conversation, it's more than likely not a good thing.
mm-hmm.
Why are you saying this stuff out loud?
Hmm.
Those are the quiet parts I learned to keep quiet in my history as a human being walking the planet. I learned to keep the illegal parts quiet. That's my thing. So when it comes down to it, like, ain't nobody sitting around, huh? And then the next thing you know, you somewhere crying, talking about, I don't even know how I got here.
Squad deep in the situation, figuring it all out.
That part.
I said absolutely not. I made that mistake a few times. But now, and that's why and it's not to say I enjoy the fruits of being single. I'm not saying that at all. But what I am saying is that I get to learn how to behave, and that is part of surrendering. You know what I mean? And it's
Hmm.
not really as religious as you may think it is. It's really a sound principle of knowing that there's that third F that's
Yeah.
with fight and flight, is being able to
It's
flow and navigate through the situation.
and the
New
sad part
word.
about,
Did y'all get
yeah,
it?
to sit your
Fucking
situation.
wation.
Like it, love it, write it down in the dictionary, damn
Listen.
it. It's crazy that you say that, because I've been in and out of therapy for a while,
Mm-hmm.
and I never heard flow till I met y'all. Like that, they tell you there's two choices. You know what I mean? Like, you just
Mm-hmm.
either do this or you do that. There's no in
Mm-hmm.
between. And so you believe that because that's what
Mm-hmm.
the doctor is telling you. But the
Mm-hmm.
idea that you can flow through a situation is like, it's like that Bruce Lee should have been Freud, for real.
You just be like in the middle of the fucking. That motherfucker was right this whole
This
time.
whole time,
This
be
whole
the
be
fucking
be
water.
like fucking water. You are. Well,
God
shit.
damn it, you little karate kicking mother. You know what? I like
Here you
you.
are. I'm out here trying to punch the goddamn wall and
Right.
headbutting bricks.
When I could have just been the water.
I could have been like, "You right." Just been about my business. You know how many times, like man, I was just like, you right.
But like you said, surrender is a lot. It's when you have the proper order, and everybody's order is different.
Mm-hmm.
So, and this is the part that Kevin Samuels gang that I hate. Every person's order is different. So one person cannot tell the multitude how their order should be ordered. Because if I like my number 2 with mac sauce and you don't, we got a problem if I get the
Don't
wrong
you
burger.
put no mac sauce on my motherfucking sandwich. And it
See what I'm saying? See what I'm saying?
I get
but
it.
This is what I'm saying. So my order and your order are 2 different orders, and we both gonna be cussing somebody out at the drive-thru because we didn't get what we asked for. This is the crux of male-female war that we see going on right now. This era of everybody not liking nobody, it sucks. Because then
terrible.
when you do try to build community, people can't get past the idea that they're not supposed to like you, to actually try to get to know you to see if they like you. You know, and this is what we were talking about before. We had to go find people. We had to knock on doors with politeness and manners. And Miss So-and-so, Miss Betty, is Kevin home? Can he come outside? And he come to the door looking mad like, no, I'm on punishment. And you got to walk away. That rejection was the worst if it was your best friend. First thing on a Saturday morning. That rejection, you walk through your whole neighborhood looking like somebody just stole your bicycle. Because your best friend couldn't come out to play. We learned to deal with that young. So the fact that as adults, we are not practicing the idea that we can go on with the rest of our Saturday and find a skateboard or somebody with some roller skates or a jump rope or a Cabbage Patch doll and go live our fucking life.
Back in the day, there used to be like when I used to watch the girls out playing double dutch. When we found out that old Tiffany was on punishment, and there's only 2 girls, they used to tie that fucking rope to the fence and get the fucking skipping. Like, mom, like, listen, I'm trying to, and I believe that there's an absence of, again, community, and we haven't. I'm cracking up. Somebody on Instagram said they weren't coming out before noon. Listen, remember back in the day?
That's because you was 12. We talking about when you was 8.
What, like, and I don't even know if people kids get punished no more. I know my kids get punished. Like, I can't wait to see my son. My son acted a slam damn fool, and he thinks that these gloves ain't gonna go on. And ooh, I love him. I love my namesake, and he gonna be better than me. I'm gonna let you know that. But
I promise you, I had an argument with mine.
I believe in discipline. I believe in training your child, and I know that in our generation, especially the women of my generation, if I correct my children in front of their mothers, I got to correct 2 people.
Which is crazy.
It is fucking insane.
And but that's mainly because she doesn't trust you for whatever her reasonings are.
I mean, and the thing about it is, if we take how you feel out of it, it's not that you don't trust me to be a father to my children. It's just the idea that you and I aren't doing what we're supposed to be doing collectively to be a great example to these children.
Right. And then, like you said, you both, and on from the female perspective, I know the anytime I fringed away from their father disciplining them properly, it was because in those moments, if it had been me, I don't know if I could have held back. And so I didn't trust myself in that moment. So how could I trust you as a man who's stronger and bigger to take care?
You know, and when I was young, I didn't understand obedience was better than sacrifice. And my mom was telling me this because my mother would she would get you, but she'd be real like more the lesson, and she kind of like be popping you and telling you, I told you didn't. She'd be one of them. Pop will come in and he would be the one like the enforcer. It
Right.
wasn't until my pop one time he got a little rough on us. He was like, yo, my mom was like, don't you do that shit no more. And my pop was like, Dave, blah, blah, blah. And my mom was like, don't you do that shit no more. And my pop, he went away rumbling, blah, 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 blah. And I thought that, you know, it was just that my mom and, you know, we knew what they was doing back then. But it wasn't until I got my mom real mad. My mom unzippered my flesh from my body.
Yeah.
And she when she unzippered my flesh, I saw me in a heaping pile.
Yeah.
And she wasn't like a physically fit woman. She was short. She was, you know, heavy set, you know, more titty than you can count. But she moved like a ninja that day. And
don't you hate it when they do that?
I know, and I could bring my siblings on here and they can count the belts that I threw, because I was grabbing these belts and throwing them.
Oh, you was getting it the worst.
There was no way on this planet that God was throwing these belts from the clouds at this woman. She was just grabbing them. Bow. And I would just get one and still getting that. And I just said, fuck it. So I grabbed both of the belts in her hand at the time.
Like anime.
And no way, I just like wrapped them up and I like twisted and she spun. I thought it was just enough because I saw her kind of like fall back in the closet. I dove over the bed. If my sister was on here, I reached for my sister out towards the door and I felt the weight of my mother's body on my back. Now, meanwhile, I thought she fell into the closet. And I was just like, at least I can escape. She was on my back with 2 more belts. Where the fuck you get all these belts from is what I learned. I learned that obedience being better, because it was something small I just should have done. And had I had done that one small thing, she told me, she said, I saved this $50 because I knew how much you really wanted to do, but you half-assed it, and I told you to take your time, and you fucked up. So now, not only do you not get what you need, now you get your ass whooped. Now, when your dad get home, I'm gonna tell him that you didn't push me in the closet, and he gonna fuck you up again.
Oh, he was asking for it, bro.
So I learned very early that to be obedient and to follow instruction, even if you don't want to, it's going to save your life somehow.
Right.
You know,
and sadly, I did not learn that early. I was the most hard-headed. My middle name is okay. My uncle has been calling me Kristen Rockhead Wilson since the age of 8. I have had the hardest time following instructions my whole life. And once I finally got myself in order, you know how peace just comes upon things?
Yeah.
It's like that moment when the sun peeks over the hill and shines on the pond and all the fucking tadpoles and lilies is blooming and shit. It's that simple. Like as soon as you get in order, everything pans out properly. But it's hard. Like wifey said, she said her daughter.
Say that. I was about to do that. You better say it.
Yeah. Her daughter came to her talking about her significant other was saying how she's not a people person. Basically, she doesn't build strong relationships. And her daughter's response was, "Tell me how," because people are not people anymore. Like people don't have the values that come from thinking you got away from 2 belts and 2 more belts is instantly on that ass. People don't have that. And that is a great lesson. Do you know how many pillows have been shredded from me trying to block? Like listen. I knew not to grab the belt. So when you said grab the belt, I just was like, oh yeah, he almost died.
I was that child that needed a beating a week.
And mine wasn't frequent, but they was horrible. Like I'm literally throwing my grandmother's dishes in the trash every time I'm told to do the dishes. Like
I needed beatings like Ozempic.
Oh Lord.
Listen, I'm trying to tell you, I was bad. I wasn't bad. I was everywhere at once.
Ozempic got these fools in a chokehold. I'm
Listen,
trying to see how the thighs is gonna match once the BBLs get a hold of the Ozempic. Can we talk about that for a second?
listen, y'all better be obedient. Y'all didn't read the ingredients. I'm
They
trying to
didn't
tell you.
read the ingredients or the recipe,
It
and
was a
their
recipe.
knees are gonna surrender when all
Y'all,
of that
and they gonna have them
gets
big
on
heels
top
in
of
the
100
back.
pounds.
You
Whew.
know the real big heel. Whoo boy.
And they used to be fat head with the skinny body.
Yeah, man. Them big heels is crazy.
Oh baby.
Listen, those big heels. Let me see if I can find a picture. I need to find a picture of some big heels
What you talking
where it
about?
looked like a big old chancleta.
Oh yeah.
It just form fits around the chancleta. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
God, those are some heels, man.
Yeah. You said chancleta, and I just thought about 18 Puerto Rican meetings that I didn't think about before today in so many years. Puerto Rican whoopings is different because if you're not Puerto Rican and they're speaking to you in Puerto Rican, that
You
is the
said,
most
"Don't you damn it." Let's rewind.
what
Let's rewind
Puerto
because
Rican beatings are
did you
different.
say did you say they're speaking in Puerto Rican?
They're speaking in Puerto Rican.
That is not what how they speak. They don't spoke in Puerto Rican.
How they don't spoke in Puerto Rican, sir? They
They
from
they
Puerto Rico.
they speak Spanish.
No, they don't. They not
Yeah.
from Spain. That is not the same shit I learned in Spanish class. I'll wait. Because you know Puerto Ricans, and that is not Spanish.
I'm not arguing. I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
that ain't
I'm
Spanish,
just
sir.
saying. I don't go around saying I speak American.
No, you speak. We technically speak American English. Ameriglish is what I like to call it. And then
American.
each part of the country is a different. I speak northeastern Ameriglish, specifically from the region of Boston, Massachusetts. See what I'm saying? If I said,
I
"Oh,
listen.
oh,
We can
look,
agree to disagree with this one as long as you know that they speak Spanish. It's like although it's a Puerto Rican dialect, it's a
yeah."
Hispanic
So
dialect
they're
by
speaking
way
Puerto
of
Rican.
Puerto Rico.
They speaking Puerto Rican to me. Dominican is different from Puerto Rican. Is different from Honduran. Is different from Mexican. It's different. You seen Clueless? That bitch made was mad. I'm not a Mexican. She was pissed off, bro, because she from Guatemala. She speak Guatemalan. You can look back there. They back there talking shit all the time.
In the arms of an angel.
If you'd like to donate.
Amen. Amen. Listen. And as a whole, it's been a day, y'all.
It
As a
has.
whole, and I
A
wish
couple of them.
that y'all really knew. Like we really try to keep it as like we don't. We try to keep it very serious here, and it's been a day. And if Kristen and I can really tell you how we wasn't even going to have this damn show today,
Sure wasn't.
and the wrath that I had to show in my home and had to really decompress in order to rally my co-host. And listen, we gonna be all right. And that is an example for me of being able to surrender
Yeah.
because this woman was going through a lot. And I had to put how I was going through and what I was going through and how I felt to the side to make sure that my co-host, because if she's not doing good, our show does not operate. I'm trying to tell you, and
I'm trying.
it's not that I can't do what she does. It's just that what she does is looks easy. And it's made to look that way. And
Thank you.
it's our responsibility as fellas and men is to make the relationship look easy. Make the dynamic look easy. We got to put in that work early. We got to put in that work first. Um and this is an opinion towards women, not a fact. Stop telling all your fucking business out here.
Ooh, facts. No, that was a fact. Say that shit loud. Go do the thing. Because they needed to hear you.
Stop. Nobody's impressed about your body count. Nobody's impressed about your throat game. No. Well, no, people are. People are impressed by it. But those who you want to have long goals with, they're not really. It's an amenity, and it's something that's great, and it's something worth finding out. But it's not a conversation worth having. It's not something that's excitable. It's something that I could leave. I could literally flush down the toilet with a bad drink.
In the drain.
Keep your business to yourself.
And this goes for men too. Let me just say that.
Men.
Y'all talking just as much.
Men. All the muscles that y'all think y'all got looking on Instagram, that don't mean shit. If your heart and your mind and your body are in the wrong places, they will shatter. They will break. And you will be
Just like
out
the
here
mirror you
acting
look
like you ain't got no damn sense.
Mm-hmm.
They all got to be aligned. You can't have
It
all
don't make
this
sense.
power
I call
but
them,
no responsibility. You gonna be hurting people that don't deserve to be hurt out here.
Look, I call them mirror muscles because that's all they're good for.
Yeah, humble
good.
your damn self. Women, you know, I know that shit happened in the past, but sometimes you gotta buckle up your bootstraps and be like, listen, I learned my lesson, and some shit may try to happen again, but I will be smarter next time. Stop eliminating the shit that you ain't never gonna do again. Oh, I ain't never gonna go through this again. Yes, the fuck you will, and you gonna be callous and stupid too.
Because you slow as fuck. You was in that class that was special, and you ain't learned shit. So now you right back in the same situation.
Go put your helmet back on.
While we telling these broads what to do, right? Can I say something?
Hey man,
stop telling all your motherfucking business. You heard the man. Stop doing it. I don't give a fuck about your
child. Shut your asses up. Shut your asses all the way up.
We don't give a fuck about your child support, whether or not it came in. We don't give a fuck about whether or not y'all got matching sneakers. We don't give a fuck about what you cooked yesterday, unless you was cooking for me. We don't get listen, calm down, find something that's impressive, and then make some first impressions. Because
with yourself.
Period. I am tired of that whole idea of first impression being the lasting impression. No. What was your first impression of me? There wasn't one, because you have not impressed me yet. Not once.
Look, only gold medal they have can tear and is sitting on the bottom of the bed. You better try to do something different.
And the only flower they done got vibrates. Get the fuck out of here.
Listen, we are chestnut checkers. We are out of here. We are close to the hour. We want to make sure we're honoring our time and we can record and chop and edit.
Absolutely.
Y'all, we have a responsibility to do better. And our goal, and we said it in the beginning, our goal is to have this conversation men to woman. Have that conversation where the matters are more than the facts and the feelings. They just are what the hell they are. They just are. And you can call it a double standard. You can call it this. You can call it that. But your responsibility is to make sure you stay steadfast with your standards.
Can we make that one of the things we don't say on here going forward? Double standard. There's no fucking such thing as a double standard. His standard as a man is not my standard as a woman. Stop trying to match their masculine energy, you manly bitch. You cut it out. Y'all have a good night. You stop trying to match these men. That is not your energy. It's not your place. It's not.
Y'all didn't deserve to hear that. That not the truth, but that holler. I was trying to put my sexy voice on. I couldn't hold it. Nah, yo, listen, Kevin, wasn't it?
My uncle, I love
You
you,
manly.
you manly bitch. I'm just
Yo,
so
but
tired of it because
seriously.
then women like myself who live in their feminine energy but happen to be tall get and have a hard accent from the northeast get called masculine because I know how to assert myself and I know how to speak to the matter at hand directly. Directly. I'm the problem now. I'm aggressive and I'm masculine and I'm doing too much and fuck y'all. Learn how to converse. Learn how to be within your own energy and stop worrying about. I posted the other day, and this will be my last bit because I love y'all and I know y'all get sick of me sometimes. Stop worrying about what I'm doing and start worrying about why you're worried about what I'm doing.
I think that's pretty simple, you know. That's pretty simple.
You would think.
But we are chestnut checkers. We kind of we lost focus a little bit, but we wrapped it up. We're our responsibility again as men. And I was going to get into the idea real quick. I'm actually going to try to consolidate this in
Go for it,
3
baby. We got
minutes.
time.
The idea of masculine energy and feminine energy when it deals with getting things accomplished is that the masculine energy then becomes the vessel. It becomes the robot. It becomes the artificial shell. It becomes the exoskeleton. It becomes Voltron. And then the feminine energy is the guiding voice to allow it to do what it needs to do.
Right.
Because if without that, it just either will be dormant or it'll be a danger to everything. So in that adversity, woman's still voice or feminine still voice should be that voice of reason to keep that matter from going to destruction or chaos. To the opposite side, the idea of feminine, when that duress happens, the masculine now becomes either a glove or an umbrella. It becomes the covering to swelter the fire or acknowledge that that luminescent is a little bit too harsh for the moment at hand.
Yeah.
That's their responsibility. That is your divine responsibility. It's not about being deserved or owed at that moment. It's sad to see men standing around and watching women fight. It's disgusting to see women provoking men to such wrathful things where they will lose a life over a piece of pussy. It's scary that women aren't safe to say no. It is embarrassing that women have to degrade a man in order to keep them at bay. And it's a shame that these men are now feeling so emasculated that they have to feel like they feel like that you're a prey and they're a predator.
Right.
It is sad, y'all. That is the problem and the facts of matter. What we're here to do is to give you just an understanding that after that war and after you figure out that that war ain't with her or him, it's here. The next step is just that grain of sand and go forward. What are we doing next? What are we doing tomorrow? Not as a collective, but as a self. You know you fucked up. You a fragile piece of glass up here. You didn't broke. Let's put these pieces back together and make something beautiful so that, number one, you ain't hurting your fucking self no more.
Right.
You're not a danger to society, and you're able to now develop into something a little bit better so you can look in the mirror and say, you know what? I'm not just participating in this world. I'm actually an asset. You know, I actually have a plan to benefit and design and to create goals. That's your divine right. Your pride will have that shit bastardized.
Early.
Women, your vanity will have that shit shattered.
Early.
Let's do better, y'all.
Let's do better.
Let's do better. Chestnut checkers, y'all. This is William Alexander. We have the beautiful Kristen Rare Sense Wilson on the line, and we just checking out, y'all. I love y'all. We love y'all. Have fun and enjoy life.
Have a good night, guys. Find us on YouTube, Instagram, and
Oh,
Facebook and
yes.
TikTok.
Oh, shit. We got time.
Yeah.
We are upgrading, y'all.
Absolutely.
Instagram,
Yep.
TikTok, YouTube. Are we on Facebook?
We're about to be.
We're about to be on Facebook. We on, of course, StreamYard. We're about to be on well, I just finished this little account on Spotify. We're about to be on Apple Music. We're about to be streaming. We're about to be giving y'all information. We're about to be giving y'all product. We're about to be giving y'all
the merch is coming, y'all.
We're about to be giving y'all life, y'all. I'm trying to tell you, new design, new backgrounds. You might end up seeing me and Kristen on the same camera. Keep fucking around and finding out and supporting us, y'all.
I promise you, we're going to be here to support y'all as long as y'all are here to support us.
Checkers.
Absolutely. Thank you, everyone who watched. Love you, boo.
Always appreciate you. This is Chess Not Checkers. Follow us, y'all. Support us, y'all. We will follow and support and love y'all individually and as a collective. Bless to you.
Good night, y'all.